Welcome everybody, my name is Nick, and I'm going to show you today how to play the Eldricore TCG. Now I am going to just go through a few basic turns. We do have our quick play guides over here to the left, and this will also help you out if you end up having any questions along the way. So here I've set up a yellow deck versus a red deck. Now you can see the Eldricore goes in the top left, your deck goes in the top right, your minor Eldricores go in the bottom left, and then your graveyard is the bottom right. Now we are going to go ahead and flip this face down. Now, once you actually play the game during set 1, you will shuffle these. However, during the starter deck era, right now, they are just all the same thing, so it doesn't really matter. So, since yellow is going to go first here, red does get this trinket. This is something we are testing out right now. This is not confirmed to be in the final product yet, but we are going to go ahead and test with it for now. So, to start with, you shuffle your deck. So, we'll shuffle both decks here. And then you draw 6 cards. So with these 6 cards, if you are new and you don't know your deck that well yet, the easiest thing to do is during the mulligan phase, which is now, you essentially just want to put back anything with Savior. So this guy has Savior right here, and this guy has Savior right here. Now, once you know the deck a little bit better, like for this guy, for example, we do have 2 of them, so we can throw one of him back as well. So what you'll do is you do get 1 selective mulligan, so you'll look at your hand, and any cards you don't want, you will add them to your deck. There we go. So now you'll shuffle your deck, and you'll draw until you have 6 again. So here it would be 3. Alright, and then we'll just go ahead and draw 6 for the red deck as well. So let's see here. So yellow will go first. So what you do is, the first thing you do is you draw a card. So we'll go 1 here, and then we'll move that over to the rest of the yellow cards. So next, you will flip over the top card of your minor Eldricore deck into the energy area. Now this is what you will use to pay for cards. So here, we do have 1 energy, so we can turn this sideways or exhaust it to play this 1 drop. Now you can see his cost is in the top left, his attack is in the bottom left, and his HP is in the bottom right. You can also find this information over here on the quick play guide. So this is a recruit. So he says on play, draw a card. So we do get to draw 1 card when we play him. You can also find all of the keyword skills over here on this yellow sheet to the left-hand side. So the person who goes first, they can attack if they choose to. However, keep in mind, if you do attack into your opponent, you could trigger Savior, which is something we'll end up going over here in just a moment. But any followers that are left up can also block attack. So if someone were to attack your Eldricore, you could choose to block with him. So in this case, we are going to go ahead and leave him up, and we'll just pass over to the red deck. So the red deck will do the same thing. They will draw, and then they will flip 1 over. So they also have a 1 drop. So we will play Nixon. Give me 1 sec. What is this? Is it alt? There we go. Okay. So he says on play, deal 1 damage to any target. So we will exhaust this. So on play, we will choose to deal 1 damage here. Now, this yellow Eldricore does have a very interesting ability. So it says when one of your followers would take damage, this can be spell damage, attack damage, anything, you may exhaust this card and wound their cost and critical damage to prevent the damage. So if you go over here to this sheet, what wound is you deal X damage to yourself. Now, in Eldricore, damage is you actually mill cards from the top of your deck. So your deck is your life in Eldricore. So here, if we wanted to save him, we would exhaust this and we would wound damage equal to his cost. So in this case, it's 1. So we would take 1 damage. So flip it over and it goes to the graveyard. Now, what critical means, which is part of this card effect. I'm so sorry for the camera work, y'all. So what critical means is if there was a savior ability, which again we'll get into here in a moment, it would not trigger because it's critical damage. So now, one other thing to keep in mind is any activated abilities in this game, which are abilities that you choose when to use, if they do not have a specific timing on them, they are considered instant. So in this case, this doesn't say your turn, this doesn't say slow speed, this doesn't say, in this case, this is considered instant, so you can use it at instant speed to respond to anything on either turn. Now that means this one is also instant. It just says exhaust this card, give a follower +1/1 for the turn. So keep in mind, in this game, as long as you can pay the cost, which in this case is exhausting the card, you can use this at instant speed. So here we'll have the red deck attack into the yellow Eldricore, in which case yellow would choose to block with their recruit. So then in order to save their 1-drop, red would respond by using their Eldricore. So this actually gives their 1-drop plus 1 attack and 1 HP for the turn. So now they would do battle. So the way the battle works is they would deal their damage to each other at the same time. So the recruit would deal 1 damage to the Shadowling. The Shadowling would deal 2 damage now because he's buffed up to the recruit. So that means that the Shadowling has 1 damage on him. And now the recruit dies because he has less than 2 life. Now, this damage goes away at the end of turn. So, for example, right now, the red deck would just go ahead and pass turn, so this damage goes away. And in this case, this buff also happens to go away. So you come back to the yellow turn. So they draw 1. They ready everything, and then they play a new minor Eldricore. So we'll go ahead and flip that over. So now they can play a 2 cost. So they'll go ahead and play out the Ironclad Warrior. So now he has a cool ability that says once per turn when this card kills another follower, you may draw a card. So we'll exhaust 2 to play him. Now in this game, everything can attack the moment it comes out. So we will go ahead and turn him sideways. And the legal targets here are the Eldricore is always a legal target, or if a follower is exhausted, which means they're sideways like this, you can attack directly into them instead. So here, we're going to go ahead and have our Ironclad Warrior attack straight into Nixon. So once again, both players do get priority when this happens in case one of them had a spell or an ability to use. So for example, if this was still active, if it wasn't exhausted, the red player could, now exhaust this in response to the attack to give him the 1/1 buff. However, they did use it on their turn, so it's no longer available. So now the combat will resolve. He'll deal 2 damage here, so he will actually die. And now this ability activates, so yellow gets to draw 1 card because he killed a follower. And then we'll pass back to red. So now same thing before. They will draw a card. They will ready everything, and then they'll play a new minor Eldricore. So now, let's see, here is a 2 cost, so they'll go ahead and exhaust 2 to play the 2 cost. And they will, let's see. So he also has on play, deal 1 damage to any target. So on play, we'll go ahead and deal the 1 damage to the Eldricore itself. So yellow will flip over 1 card for 1 damage. Okay. So now we'll go ahead and have him attack into the Eldricore. And then after blockers are declared, the red player will go ahead and exhaust their Eldricore to give him a 1/1 buff. So now it's 3 damage instead of 1. So we'll go 1, 2, 3. Okay. So now those all go to the graveyard. And then we'll pass back to the yellow player. So they will draw. They will ready everything. And they will play a new minor Eldricore. Alright. So now they will exhaust 3. Whoops. There we go. And we'll play out the Gallant Lionheart. Sorry, it's late, guys. I apologize. So she'll go ahead and swing into the Eldricore for 4. Now keep in mind, she has an ability that says when this card deals damage to your opponent's Eldricore, place 1 card from your hand to the bottom of your deck. Now because that is all before the colon, that does have to meet. All those things have to happen in order for you to use this ability. However, once you use this ability, you get to draw a card. So the cool thing about this ability is you can put cards with Savior on the bottom of your deck and then draw a new card. So she'll go ahead and swing into the Eldricore. So red will take 4 damage. So let's go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we can flip them. Alright, and it looks like red did finally get a card with Savior, so let's go ahead and go over that now. So, as you can see, this guy has Savior, and it says Savior, play this card. So when a card is milled off of your deck from damage, as long as that damage is not critical, if you mill a card with Savior, you can choose to use the Savior effect. Now, the important thing is you have to be very careful when you choose to do this because you can only do this once per turn. And keep in mind that is once on your turn, once on your opponent's turn. So here, red will go ahead and choose to do this, so they will play him. And now he does have an on play. Savior does trigger on play abilities if they have one, because technically he is being played, so he will on play deal 1 damage to any target. So here we'll have the red player deal the 1 damage to the Eldricore of the yellow player, so they'll take 1 damage, they'll flip it. That's not Savior, okay. So now the yellow player's attack finishes and her ability goes off. So we can put this card to the bottom because it has Savior. So we'll just flip it. We'll pick the deck up, put it on top. And now since we put a card to the bottom, yellow can also draw one. Alright. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is in this game, there is no floating energy. So this card right here, you would need to be removing this from the game to actually pay for something. But yeah, other than that, that is pretty much it. Once you have no cards in deck and you are forced to draw or mill, you do lose the game. If you have any other questions about how to play the game or any ruling questions, feel free to reach out to us via social media. You can find us on Facebook, TikTok, or Instagram. You can also find the Discord server, which should be linked below the video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you have a great day.